Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. We're so glad that you're watching tonight, whether you're watching live or you're watching later on or you're listening to the podcast. We're really glad you joined our audience. We appreciate all of you. And we already have 2 comments. Let me bring you in, and then I'll tell you some news. Joe Conjal says, hi, Rob and Joan.
Hey, Joe.
Hi, Joe. Marjorie Deering says, happy Wednesday, everyone.
Hey, Marjorie.
CW, I was thinking about you today. Howdy, Rob and Joan. How are you all doing? As you all know, George is always in the audience. George Dismukes, you all know him, author, playwright, screenwriter, animal wrangler, movie actor.
Retired Hollywood scriptwriter.
Yes. His internet went out today, so he's going to be watching us, hopefully, on his beautiful wife, Nadine's phone, and commenting through the phone. So Rob will be taking his messages and we'll be doing it that way. So that'll be fun. That'll be different.
Psychically.
Yeah.
Maybe. You never know.
Yeah. Connie Clary says, hello, everyone. Hi, Connie. Glad that you're in the audience.
Hey,
good to see you.
So, episode rewind this Saturday is Joseph Caribas, episode 101. That's 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here where you're watching this show. Next Wednesday, we have the privilege of having author-publisher C.J. Peterson on from Texas Sisters Press. And this next week, same time here, same place.
You all know
7 o'clock
C.J.,
Eastern
right?
Time. And she's also got the Book World, The Great Escape podcast every Wednesday at 1 o'clock Central Time. So want to tune into that in the afternoon before you come over here in the evening to tune into us. Voice of Indie podcast immediately after this show. And at the end of our show, there'll be a little film that tells you how to get over to their podcast. Yeah, it's such a complicated thing that there has to be film instructions on how to get there, but it's worth it to go.
Do you know who the guest is tonight?
I do not.
I don't either.
I do not. I saw an ad for it today, but I didn't write it down because I was doing something else. Do want to tell you a little bit of news. We hit the 45,000 download mark on our audio, on the audios. So we're climbing steadily. Again, after we left on our 2-month vacation, we kind of slowed down a little bit, but it's kicked back into high gear. The top 8 countries right now, and we want to thank every one of those, the people in those countries for tuning in, and we hope you'll continue to tune in. Number 8 is Hong Kong. Number 7 is Bangladesh. Number 6 is the UK. Come on, UK, step it up there. Number 5 is India. Number 4 is Canada. Number 3, believe it or not, is South Africa. And number 2 is Australia. And they're carrying about 10% of our shows right now.
Yeah, so. I know what that is. That's Paul Rushworth Brown.
Yeah. And,
thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. And that's U.S., of course, is number 1.
Just a minute. Connie Clary says, hey, thank you. Glad to see you too. C.W. Hawes said, yay. Joe Conjal says, congrats, which thank you. Thank you. And Paul Hollis says, hi, Rob and Joan. Hi, Paul. Glad that you're in the audience. George Dismukes, you didn't hear. I don't know if you were on already, but he's going to be watching us on his telephone. His internet was knocked out. Well, he probably told you that already.
Anyway, in the news, this Monday, we have the release of the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles, Book 18 is the next installment in that series. And the launch is Monday. It's 10 Million Ways to Die by none other than C.W. Hawes. And we're looking forward to that.
Exciting.
And then hopefully by, and Paul, you probably know better than we do, Return of the Jaguar, the 4th book in George Dismukes Jaguar series, he was hoping late October. Let's say late October, early November. We can expect that. And I've already read a portion of it, and it's really good.
It is really good. Joe Conjal says, looking forward to CW's book. Yes, so are we. So are we.
Yep.
I mean, I'm really looking forward to that. Two of my favorite characters are in that book.
All right.
Ember and Harry.
Right. So anything else you want to chit-chat about?
Nope, I don't think so. I think our guests probably would rather come forward than us.
Would you like to introduce them?
Yeah, tonight we have Jeffrey Neil KIPPEL and Mindy Heather Blackstein, the formidable duo behind Amazon's #1 best-selling series, The Ridiculous. They're not only successful authors, but also fervent advocates of self-love and wellness.
Now, we did talk to them before the show, and we did not find them ridiculous.
No.
No, they seem to be very sensible and very nice. So welcome them to our stage here.
Thank you.
Mindy. George did say, I'm here by proxy. He's keeping us posted on his phone. Okay, so how are you guys tonight?
We're good. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you for coming along for the ride.
Yeah, because otherwise it would be just us talking and nobody wants to
Nobody
listen
wants
to
that. That gets a little old.
So tell us how you came about being authors. What's the road that brought you to this point?
The road, great question.
Yeah.
It's different for both of us.
It is. So for me, I
Okay.
started writing this book when I was in my mid-teens, around 16 or so. And I started writing it because I loved Douglas Adams, and the book stopped from Douglas Adams. He was no longer with us. And I wanted the story of Hitchhiker's Guide to continue. So I created my own world with that. And I always came back to either writing a bit more to the chapters or to the book throughout my life and throughout my career when I needed my own pick-me-up, where I had inspiration to do so. And it was when the world sort of locked down. Mindy had really suggested and challenged me and inspired me to go back to finishing a passion project that I always wanted to finish. So that got finished up with Mindy's help as being sort of the development editor and coming on and helping to steer it in the right way. Now you want to jump in.
Yeah. So that was his story. Mine was, it was just by happenstance. I happened to be an editor, and I like working with words. And he asked me to read his book, and I had some suggestions, and we just ended up like merging and writing it together. So that's how I became an author.
Awesome. And did you enjoy that process?
So,
Mindy?
yeah, go ahead.
It was yes and no. Like the beginning part was a bit of a learning curve, so we had to learn how to work together and how to make it so that we were both happy and that we were enjoying the process. So once we got through that, now it's like really enjoyable, and just writing itself, I find I really enjoy. So yes.
Yeah. Good.
It was a process.
It is a process, and especially editing yourself constantly is quite a process. I mean, it's not like you write a chapter and you're thrilled with it. No, you have to change it.
Yeah.
That's where my most resistance has been.
It must be done, however.
Definitely a challenge, huh?
And speaking of Australia, here's Paul Rushworth Brown. Hi,
Hey,
Robin
Paul.
Joan. Hello, Paul.
Down under.
Down under. We were just saying
Australia is number 2
number
on our
2
downloads,
on
for
downloads,
audio.
Paul.
Thank you
We're
very much for
sure
your help
that's
there.
due in large part to you. So thanks. Anyway, he gives us a lot of press in Australia.
Cool. Very nice.
It is very nice. All right. Sorry to interrupt you, but go ahead. So you started writing a sci-fi book, right? When you were in your teens, is that?
Yeah, it was sci-fi comedy, and what we did when we really connected and figured out the pattern of how to work together successfully, we really embedded a lot of messaging of self-help and self-love and empowerment within it. So that way we can deliver a message that is more than the book itself. There's a bigger message, and deliver it through comedy. Our background is in fitness, so it was, let's approach this in a different way that can bring a much wider audience into an awareness of that, and even the entire audience who is really dedicated to the sci-fi genre, whether it's movies or book, and be able to also give like some guidance on some things that you could do to feel better, and just embed it in a subtle way, so that if someone's not open to it, it's just a funny story, a funny joke, or whatever it is. And if they are, then they'll get that aha
moment. Yeah. Well, for those of you who haven't read, I assume there are some people that haven't read A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That is a book within a book, and they both have the same name. So it's a really funny book all the way around. Never mind who the characters are and how they're dressed. It's all just really wonderful. One of my favorite books.
Yeah, for me, that was the book that when I realized like you can laugh out loud from reading something.
Right.
That's really cool. And that time, I was in school, so you had to be careful where you could laugh out loud. But,
exactly.
a book can do that. And then when I started writing, I was laughing out loud when I was writing it, and my friends were laughing when they read it. So it made it like that power of laughter is a really strong connection, and does so many great things for the body.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you feel like your writing is, your series is for all ages, or is there geared toward any specific age?
That's a great question. Yeah. And what we've been finding is it's reaching different age categories. So we're finding parents like reading it to their young kids, because there's all kinds of fun characters, so fun voices, and the audiobook too. We're finding that the generation of people who remembered Hitchhikers and enjoyed Monty Python, there's the nostalgia end, them wanting to read this. So that allows it to allow them to read it, and then to read it to their kids, that introduces them to that genre as well. So we're getting kind of all over the place, and some are, enter it because they're looking for a different kind of self-help book instead of, the norm. Here's a funny story that's going to guide you in a different way.
Excellent. Really excellent. Yeah. So it's really a book for all ages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone that is drawn to that type of book, have fun. But see, I think that's true of any book, really. I've read a lot of young adult books. I enjoy reading young adult books, and look at some of the talk about sci-fi. Some of the great sci-fi books have turned into movies that now everybody's seen, and they were young adult books.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think what's exciting for me too is a lot of people who have read it and commented back is they start with, I never read sci-fi, or I'm not open to that. That was even Mindy.
That was me, yeah.
I'm not into that. And I really love this, and it took me on a journey. So, in that way, we've introduced somebody new into the world of sci-fi. And when they start like what movies and stuff like that fall in that, they realize, oh, I do watch science fiction.
Yeah. There's a very thin line, I think, a broad line between fantasy and science fiction. Anyway, you can, they can each have a little bit of both. Some people even say that our books have science fiction, but they don't. It's all true technical stuff. It's just crazy stuff. So Joe Conjal says, so Jeff, did you write the whole book and Mindy edited, or did you both write and edit?
So as we perfected the way to work together, I would write the initial chapter. I'd read it to Mindy. So that was my first audience on it. Then Mindy would go in and perfect it, add the layers, make sure that the jokes were all hitting, and the structure was done right, and the developmental part was being carried out. Then Mindy would read it to me, and now I take that, and now together we'll make any changes and then do another run. Well, many other runs.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that because I was editing it and I had to like layer in the jokes, and make things kind of all connect at different points in the book. I did end up writing large chunks of it. So, but it was all interspersed with what Jeff had already written.
Interesting. And how I know that you have book number 2 and book number 3 lined up, ready to go in the future. Has the process been the same for those books, or did you find the process changed as you grew together as authors?
Book 2, the process has been like smoother than the book 1. You
Yeah.
know where it became complicated? Not complicated. Just it took longer. With book 1, we wrote it, we did it, and then we said, okay, this is great. Well, I said it's great after the first draft. Keep going. And it's like, we have to read it again?
Uh-huh.
Back and forth. Yes, we have to read it again. No, I don't want to read it again. Yes, you have to. And when we had the audiobook done, now we had somebody else who's now reading it and giving some of their comments and suggestions. And then we're hearing it from a different set of, eyes and ears and everything else. And then went back and tweaked it again. And then it went back to the audio person again and then back. So that process took a lot longer because of the way we did it. But yeah, we've perfected a lot better. And book 2 is probably halfway or 3/4 edited. I think book 3 will be even smoother.
Paul Hollis, who's in the audience tonight, said one time that after you've edited it 3,000 times, you're really sick of the book. And unfortunately, that's the truth. But then years go by and you reread it again and you go, well, that was pretty good.
It's not so bad.
Chris Chrisman's in the audience. Hello, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
He says, hello, everyone. We're glad that you're here. Yes. So it is quite a process, right? Our process is a little bit like that, what you said, except that we both write. We both author and we both edit. So, we have to go back and forth about what we want to finally end up with. So I suppose it does take longer than if you're writing by yourself, but I appreciate it better because you just said something that we do, which is we read it to each other. And you pick up things that you don't pick up if you're all by yourself.
He was wearing a tie in 5 paragraphs ago, but he's not wearing one now. What's going on? That kind of thing. No, obviously.
And then if you realize, well, let's keep that. Well, then someone has to go back and rewrite that section again, right? So
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's what happens. It happened for us often.
Yeah.
Joe Conjal says, what type of marketing are you doing for the book? Anything particular that works better than other types of marketing?
Yeah, great question. We're experimenting in all kinds of different things because we haven't found exactly what works. One of the things that we're doing now is we're building a companion community online and as an app so that when people read the book and if there's specific actions and things that can be takeaways, now there's a community with experts in everything from wellness to empowerment to creativity who can guide them on the ways that they can, be better as a human or perfect their craft and things like that. So that's a different type of marketing that we're doing. I think one of the best things that we've seen, that there's 2. One is doing podcast shows, being out there and being able to get the message out in a different way. And it's not just about read my book and here's the one tagline. It's people getting to know who you are.
Exactly.
Right. And Amazon, doing advertising on Amazon, I believe has helped a lot too.
And I'll add in one more thing. We also went to bookstores, and by actually walking in to, the independent ones, they're excited to have people walk in and show them their book. And because now they have the opportunity to decide to buy it, and now they carry it there. So we found that was a really good strategy to just be bold and go in and just talk to the people there.
And this summer we did a whole bunch of markets. So all kinds of different festivals and stuff like that. And that was great because you're talking to people directly.
I know.
And Mindy would go up to people and show the book and we wrote this. And they oh, that's cool. And then we found we're very supportive of that. Just understanding, okay, yeah, we wrote this. We're the authors. Yeah, we'll sign it for you. So that was a lot of fun. So it's just always looking outside the box and doing different things, I think is best.
We just found one of our books for sale online that we had signed years ago. And it's selling for $65, the paperback, because it's signed by both of us. And we were like,
oh, that's very cool.
If they hold on to it long enough, that's going to be really cheap. Anyway, we need to take a break and hear from give you guys a word from our sponsors. So if you'll hang on for a few minutes, don't go away, folks. We'll come back and...
yeah, but I just wanted to say, if anyone wants a signed book, we'll do it a lot cheaper.
We'll do it a lot less than that. Yeah, sure.
Never mind.
45.
That was a joke.
Yeah, no, just kidding. Okay. So don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
It's 1919, and Eric Laska returns from the war in Europe. Two new enemies await him in the small coal mining town he calls home. One is a threat to his relationship with Rebecca, the love of his life. The other, a bloodthirsty beast, is stalking the mining town residents. The townspeople suspect Eric of one of the killings. An old man and Rebecca's 11-year-old sister have seen the beast, but only Eric believes their story. To protect the town and clear his name, he's forced to prove the werewolf exists. Available on Amazon. The Horror Within by Marjorie Swift Doring.
Paradise, my prison. Charlie Flint awakens from a deep sleep and finds himself alone on a tropical beach surrounded by a palm tree jungle and exotic animals. He cannot remember who he is or anything about his life. First, he must find food and build shelter and protect himself from hidden dangers. As his memory gradually returns, it reveals what a very flawed person he is. A man who made too many mistakes, made too many enemies. The implications of the truth are staggering. How did Charlie get there? And will he save himself? Paradise, My Prison is the riveting new suspense thriller from retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. Paradise, My Prison by George Dismukes is available in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats worldwide.
Madison Jackson loved being a cop. A young girl is raped and murdered near Burnett Reservoir. Madison vows to get justice for the child. Madison travels to the heart of Mexican cartel country. She is kidnapped, tortured. Will Madison ever make it home? Justice by Kelly Marshall. Only at Amazon.com.
And we're back.
Yes.
Hello.
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 Well,
So on your audiobook, does the narrator do all different voices for you guys?
Oh yeah. So we put out an audition on Audible, saying we wanted British voice and in the style of Hitchhikers and Monty Python and all that. We had about 100 people who auditioned for it, and the voices and everything were amazing. But this one guy, Alan Irving, I just stood above, and yeah, he does all the voices, and there's actually a few scenes where there's like the 6 characters all together in conversation, and it's just it's awesome.
And does all different voices?
oh, that's talented.
That is nice.
Oh yeah.
That's talented to be able to remember which voice belongs to which character. I couldn't do it.
No. I
Yeah.
have trouble remembering my own voice. You know?
when we do readings, I can't remember the voices that I'm doing for the characters, so they sometimes change mid-character.
George Dismukes says, I'm going to write a book to market here and in Australia and call it Possum on the Barbie.
Classic George Disney.
Okay, George. Thank you, George.
Possum on the Barbie. I don't, do you have possums in Australia? Paul, I'm not sure. Anyway, I don't know. They have some really crazy things there, but I don't know.
They do.
I don't know if they have possums.
So,
I was going to say, why don't we have you do your reading?
ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good segue.
That was a good time, right?
Yeah, Possum on the Barbie to
No,
reading
we're
from your
talking
book.
about voices on the audiobook and all that.
Yeah. So we'll
You
read.
don't have to do all the voices.
Yes, you do.
No.
Well,
Do
We'll
whatever makes you comfortable.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
we'll
just-
have fun. So this is the opening scene of the book. So the book again is called The Ridiculous. This is chapter 1, called Shrieks and Rhino Kickers. From the distant star of Poselner he traveled. Why? Who knows? But that's not the point. At least not right now. And actually, it wasn't even a star. It was a planet. His. For 3 billion galactic years and 9.2 megaseconds, his ship careened across the somewhat vast universe, turning left here and right there and looping around some dumped sphagnoids every so often. All in all, it was smooth trekking. Well, besides the mishap near the Algernon sector, which we get into right now. His journey would have been a lot shorter had he not stopped in at Joe's Galactic Bar. But who could blame him? With all the advertising that Joe's been doing lately, he wouldn't be surprised if a corn char actually stopped by. You know the slogan. No party's complete without a corn char. Why not stop in and try Joe's Galactic Bar? What the hay-horf is a corn char? The space traveler thought, as he came within a safe distance of the place. Anyway, he decided why not, and stepped in for several treats and a shot of his favorite drink, the Rhino Kicker. This strange and bizarre sort of alcoholic substance got its name during the age of bartenders. It's much like one of the olden age soft drinks called Brioza, which was banned under Section 77.56 of the Living Rights Act, Supplement 999.887.172.31.457-Q. Unlike Brioza, though, it's claimed that 3.289 seconds after tasting the Rhino Kicker, one would kick its legs back in some sort of dance and charge something, usually a brick wall, scream singing, "Rhino! Rhino! Rhino!" Apparently, the drink was smoking. The Rhino Kicker has no such effect on Serbanan, although he has claimed to have hallucinated packs of rhinos kicking dance moves around his head. He was quite delighted, actually. With drink in hand, Serbanan was now able to sit back for a moment, finally free to get acquainted with his beverage. He wanted to get in touch with his feelings, or at least tried it. He'd been through a lot these last few hours. These last few weeks. No, months, no, years, no. Actually, to be safe, these last few decades. Now is the time to set things straight, he decided. At least attain some quasi-fashion of existence. And if that didn't work, well, he'd have to wreak havoc. Maybe even disrupt flight schedules just to get everyone to experience airport food on a continuous loop across all known galaxies. And then, to really confuse people, maybe he'd get planes flying to the same destination. One giant love fest. Actually, one giant love fest where the only law is to love yourself. Wow, wouldn't that be nice? Or maybe he'd just brush his teeth. Decisions. While each scenario is fulfilling in various ways, only one would leave him with that tingly mouthfeel.
Where are y'all?
Asked something sitting on the bar stool beside him. Serbanan wanted to answer the fuzzy creature, but he couldn't find its head anywhere. He didn't want to embarrass it by speaking to the wrong part of its body, so he just ignored it.
Have you been drinking the Death Bunker, or are you just ignoring me?
It asked, slightly annoyed. The voice appeared to be coming from the thing's foot, so, going on speculation, Serbanan spoke to its foot. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Actually, I thought I heard a pack of dancing rhinos coming this way. So I got scared and turned off my hearing senses. Serbanan was quite pleased with this ingenious story, especially the part about turning off his hearing senses, as if he could do that with any degree of accuracy. Serbanan had hoped that his words were enough to turn this creature off and make it go away, but he had no such luck. It just sat there, as if assessing the situation, trying to figure out the best possible course of action. This seemed to be going on for close to an eternity. Then, right when Serbanan thought enough time had passed and he could turn away, it spoke.
Oh, I see you've been drinking the Rhino Kicker. Never liked the drink myself. Used to wake up with bumps on top of bumps on top of bumps and brick shavings lodged into my forehead, which, of course, made it very painful to walk.
After that short but meaningful exchange of words, both speakers decided it would be in their best interest to disregard the conversation and pretend it never existed. And we'll break there.
Oh, that's funny.
Very reminiscent of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Wait a minute. Looking, there we go. Here, we'll put this up. The Ridiculous Book 1. We can be on the lookout for Book 2 and Book 3.
Yes.
Well, that was interesting. It really is very reminiscent of
Yeah.
Hitchhiker's Guide.
It is.
And we love Monty Python. We're old enough to be around to love Monty Python.
Cool.
Joe Conjal said, "What a fun reading. Love it.
Okay.
They gave CW a run for his money, LOL."
They did.
They did. And Chris Christmas says, "Funny stuff." He
Thank
mentioned CW because CW read his book last time we were on and used different voices.
Cool.
But you did have the advantage of being two of you,
Yeah.
which helped.
Why don't we tell everyone where we can reach them?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So if you want to reach Jeff and Mindy, their website is www.actridiculous.com. That's ACTRIDICULOUS.com. And what else we got here? Email. You could write them an email also at actridiculous@gmail.com. And we'll go ahead and do our book giveaway. So everybody get ready, start typing. The first 3 people to email actridiculous@gmail.com will win an ebook copy of The Ridiculous Book 1. And Jeff and Mindy will come to your house and read to you. Oh, no, that's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
That
is
is
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
That's not going to happen, folks.
So I noticed right off the bat, though, that you brought in feelings right away in the first chapter. And
Yeah.
so go ahead.
It expands on that. We talk about nutrition and, different types of, tricks that you can do when you're eating to, have better nutrition and feel better. So we just embed these things, throughout. And it made it fun because it made it, we would make sure, like, Mindy's very particular on this, like every word needs to be perfect.
That's why we keep re-editing.
I'm okay with it in a certain, but so we're making sure that we're carrying messages throughout, that every paragraph has something that we're doing either to make someone laugh or to make somebody think differently.
And uplifting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I noticed that you talked about you have bodybuilding and natural bodybuilding regime and mindfulness. Do either one of you practice yoga, or either one of you a yogi?
Yeah, we practice yoga. I haven't for a little bit, but yes, we do. And yeah, we're active in being in the fitness sort of mindset of overall wellness, and that's the big key message that our message is, and we've been in the industry for quite some time, is to get people to realize that being fit and being happy is more than just that outward appearance. It's more than just strength and looks. It's the internal. It's about mental and emotional and spiritual. And it's about being happy from the inside out, mind to heart, head to toe.
Yeah. So we came from the bodybuilding world and the fitness model search world, and we were much more into like fitness as like a strict regimen, rather than it being just like whatever we're kind of guided to do. And now fitness means something completely different to us. And so we actually have a saying, it's called to rethink fitness and be body proud. Because if you're body proud, then you're taking actions that feel good for you and are good for your body. And then you start to see results once you do them regularly. So our whole mindset has shifted on the bodybuilding world and on the fitness world. And we spent years learning from experts, actually traveling the world and being mentored personally by people who have discovered new things and innovators. And all of those messages we embedded into the book or into the series, because we recognized from our past in the bodybuilding world that people mistakenly think that if you look like a superhero, you also feel like one. And so that's really our message.
And for sure, that is not the truth.
Correct.
I mean, it's the same thing as the same thing as people thinking that money would solve all their problems.
Right.
Until they have all that money and they still have all the same problems. So
right.
Then what do you do?
Yeah, then you turn to mindset and meditation, and you go to the strategies that help you feel good. And there are things that work.
Mm-hmm. There are. I mean, I think everybody has to follow their own path and get there. But yeah, I do think that there's things that work. We've actually been on the planet long enough that we're at a place where we're pretty comfortable. So, but it was a bumpy ride.
But you learn from the bumps.
You should. Some people don't. But it's a much better ride if you do.
Yeah, you just have to choose to. And if you choose to, you can.
Exactly. And we all have free will, and we can all choose that.
Yeah.
And we are definitely all the captain of our own ship, and we can't blame anybody else for anything. We have to own it. And once you can do that, I think it goes a lot better for you. C.W. Hawes says you have to be your own best friend. That's right, C.W. And that's probably the most difficult thing in the world, is to be your own best friend.
Yeah.
I think it's much easier to be somebody else's best friend. It's funny.
Joe asked this question. They kind of answered it, but
yeah. What?
Right here.
Okay.
Outlining. Joe asked this earlier. Did you outline or plan out the whole book ahead of time, or are you a pantser? Flying by the seat of your pants.
It's more working off that inspirational download. And what's cool is I don't know what I'm writing until it's finished. So I'm hearing the story for the first time, as it's coming up. When the books were written, we knew some of the objectives or some of the messages that we wanted to put in, but the story developed itself on the way. No idea how it was going to end. Same with book 2 and book 3. It just sort of step into the world of imagination, get into that, that right place, and just let it flow. What I have found, and this doesn't mean it's true for everyone, because everyone does it a different way, is if you just allow the focus to be in that creative part of your brain, without the focus being on the analytical side of your brain, it's a different experience. And, reading a lot of different posts from authors where they get to that point of they don't know what to write, they can't write, they've got writer's block, etc. A lot of them fall into that portion of it's based around how many words they need to write in that day. And if you just are doing that and then always checking, did I hit it? Okay, I'm at 421. Okay, I need to get to 600. That's you're going out of creative into analytical. You're going from right brain to left brain. If you just stay in that moment and just get to that, then the story becomes more clear, at least for us.
So, Joe, answer.
Clear, yeah.
We're pantsers also.
There we go.
The characters write the book. It's like, and when you try to make them go someplace they don't want to go, you have to change direction because they're not going to go there.
Well, we got to go somewhere.
Ours actually fought back. So
That's what I'm saying.
They do, don't
when
they?
you try to make them do what they want to do, they're not going to do that.
Well, we're all going to go to a commercial right now. So you can fight it if you want to, but I've got the button. So here we go. Stay tuned, you guys.
Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Behold, this one about a man, a woman, a black jaguar, and an ancient Maya legend. Two Faces of the Jaguar is a novel by George Dismukes that will take you deep into the jungle and capture your imagination until the last word. Two Faces of the Jaguar is book one of a trilogy. Two Faces of the Jaguar, where only the adventurous dare to read.
Two Faces of the Jaguar, The Lost City, and The Jaguar's Quest are available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Two Faces of the Jaguar, the book people are talking about. Get your copy today.
The clock is ticking. Can Gracie uncover the truth?
Philip Pliant is the wealthy opportunist plastics dealer and CEO of Pliant Industries. He's also a master thief, creating a pervasive threat to the manufacturing infrastructure in the Caribbean islands markets. With the cartel as his stealth client, the naive city leaders have been seduced, enabling the production of more than three-dimensional building materials.
The expected profits are monstrous.
Is the art group, now led by Gracie and the family heirs, strong enough to win against this predator?
Can JJ's cats act on the root cause analysis in time?
Will Gracie be able to squash Pliant and the cartels?
Gracie never considered their lives would hang in the balance. The clock is ticking. 5, 4, 3.
And we're back.
They always kind of end abruptly, the commercials.
They've got a mind of their own.
So when you were into bodybuilding, you actually did weightlifting and all that kind of thing, or yes, no?
So I had the desire for us was to change the industry and provide a different pathway for those who wanted to train naturally, meaning without the use of drugs and steroids. So to do that, we both became the product too. Mindy, went through her transformation to be as a fitness model and, appeared on magazines and things like that. I went through the process to get my physique to compete. So we learned the industry that way. So, competed on that end of it. And then we ran events. We ran hundreds of events all around the world, which was cool because we got to travel and experience different things. We did TV shows, and all over the world also, and published magazines. And all that was to give people that ability to say, I want to make a change. So then why don't you then set a goal and use the stage as a way to draw you towards that goal? Now visualize that. Now see what you can become, and then go do it. And through our career, we've celebrated somewhere between 15 and 20,000 people who did that process and went through it, and then inspired millions of people to make change also. So it was very cool. So we were in the industry. We weren't that we were training athletes, but we were guiding athletes on what to do to get their physique to where they need to go, or how to market themselves. So but yeah, we always stayed active, working out. But that's changed over time too, like Mindy was saying. We much more focus on core fitness and different strengths. And you were asking about yoga, and there's so many different disciplines that to get you to where you need to go. And if you also embed it with the mindset and you ignite that, amazing things can happen.
Well, that is really inspiring. That's really great, especially natural bodybuilding, and instead of, you know, all of these kids taking steroids, and that's not good. It never ends well for them. You know, just doesn't.
Yeah.
Just seen too many kids go off the rails with trying to do that. It's really, really hard. But so that's really good. And to be happy with what you can do through a natural bodybuilding, right? Which is different, looks different than if you're taking steroids.
Yeah, it certainly does. Yeah.
Yes, and so it's good to get that image out there as this is a great image, right? This is what you should be working for. And so that's really admirable. I mean, you said you reached 15 to 20,000 people who then reached other people. Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it pretty much like ignited a culture, and it was like a niche. It grew like exponentially, and it's still going strong now, the whole industry.
Are you still involved in that?
We're from a different standpoint now. Being able to bring people together into community where they can learn from or get inspired by the experts that have information and insights and innovations to share to help people on that journey. So we're approaching it from a different standpoint, not running the events, but giving just the right pathways. A lot of people just don't know where to start. And if you just rely on social media and follow someone because they're a star, they're in a TV show or a magazine, doesn't mean that they're fully educated to share that information. And we want people together in a community that was really about wholesome products and proven methods and authenticated role models that are based on accountability, authenticity, and transparency.
Yeah, that's really good stuff. Really is excellent.
Yeah, so basically we're going from bodybuilding, and we're saying beyond bodybuilding, it's about being body proud. And we're giving people all the actions and the tools and the experts and the recognition for taking those steps and actually having that kind of mindset shift and going, wow, I love how I feel. I feel great. Or I walked by and I was so proud of myself, and catching these moments. So we're giving people these little steps on their journey that they could take so that they actually have those types of thoughts and feelings.
And we're translating that also to authors and musicians, because if you understand how you can get yourself into that in the moment space, well, if you can do that, the output you're going to do is so much stronger. You're going to get so much more done, maybe in a more compressed time, and you're going to enjoy that process. But how do you get to that state? Well, you got to take some baby steps, because you can't just jump forward, and how are you going to choose the environment where you're writing? What is the whole mental health aspect of it, of making it something that's positive and empowering that you're doing, and how to get into that place? So we want to be able to show anybody from whatever background or age or abilities that you can be happy, you can be fit. It's a process. How do you do it, and what's important to you?
Have you considered writing a guide or, a series of guides to help people that way in that industry?
Other through ridiculousness?
Other than...
yeah. Well, two things. We do have a book that's already in the works on that.
Yeah, that's called Rethink Fit to Be Body Proud. And it's a bit of our journey and how we help shape the industry, but also here's a toolkit.
There you go.
Oh, great.
That's good.
And the community that we're building is that. It's like it's a living guide.
So it's not just us who's telling the information. It's all these experts who are the ones who are leading the industries.
Yeah, and giving
excellent.
People tools.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The people who can speak to nutrition and different aspects like that.
Yeah, the community itself is a gamified community, which means people are rewarded for taking good for me actions. They earn badges, they go on missions, they earn points and all that kind of stuff. And it's really just by doing things to help yourself and having an accountability partner and using that gamification as accountability. And now people are more apt to stay engaged and go on their journey because they know that there's somewhere that they can keep track of that.
And
Prizes.
Go ahead. Did you finish your thoughts, Mindy?
I can continue, but yeah, I did. But yeah, it's prizes, like even for your audience, people can give away books and things like that, because we want people to get into a state where they can just kind of like be in the flow and not have worry and, you know, all that kind of stuff going on. So to get immersed in a book, that's something great for people to get into. And a lot of people aren't reading these days, and we want to ignite people to inspire them so they have to pick up a book again.
We do too.
We do too.
Joe Conjal said, did you win any awards as bodybuilders?
When I competed, I was in the top 10 in the natural universe. That was many, many years ago. But we were the ones giving out the prizes. Because we ran events. Typically, I was the head judge, the physique judge for the panel. Mindy operated the backstage. We're the ones who awarded the people who competed. Yeah, I hope that answers.
You probably wouldn't have wanted to give yourself an award. It probably wouldn't have looked right.
Probably would not have gone over very well.
No.
But as what you're really talking about, though, is that you should be awarding yourself for every step of the way, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Celebrating yourself.
Yeah.
Yep. Give yourself a medal.
Yeah.
And it really is, even if it's a tiny little thing, you know, set a goal. If you can do that consecutively for whatever period of time and you reach that, then reward yourself with something. Even if it's something really teeny, because there's a psychological aspect to that. Oh, wow, I did this. I got an award. Okay, well, what's next? Maybe the next award will be bigger, but maybe the award is, I feel great.
Right.
That's how we train our dog. And I'm not kidding. She does many things because of the reward at the end. And for her, though, it's like good job or you're a good girl is a reward for her. And she likes to hear that, and we'll do things. So like you said, it doesn't have to be a big deal. Though she does like her TREATs. I'm not going to say that out loud. She's sitting right here, and then there'll be heck to pay. Marjorie Daring said, whatever the two of you are doing, it must be working. Maybe it's just me, but each of you exude joy. I suspect you're each other's yin and yang.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's sweet to read.
Yeah, we've been together we met in 1999, so we've been together for a few.
Did you party like it was 1999? I'm sorry, it had to be said. Somebody had to say it. I know. 1999. Well, good. We've been together 47 years.
Oh,
Wow,
nice.
that's amazing.
I know. It is amazing.
It is amazing.
It's been great. I wouldn't be who I am without him. And that's the truth.
Same here.
Yeah, I know.
I wouldn't be the same without me.
No,
without you.
And that's been my life for 47 years.
Boom.
Dad jokes all day long.
Well, before we wind up here, I did want to ask you about your publishing experience, publishing your book and your audio book. How did you find that? Did you find that to be easy, or what kind of experience did you have?
Well, other than the mistake we made.
Yeah, I mean, we grew with it. I mean, when the first book, the first version of the book, at that time, I thought I could do everything. So the cover was a picture I had taken.
It was a nice picture.
It was a nice picture, but it wasn't what it needed to be. It was when, like in any business, when you're able to let go and say, okay, I'm good at these certain things. If I can gather experts around me, and expert doesn't mean that it has to cost a tremendous amount of money. And so we found someone on Fiverr and, found the right person to do the cover. At the beginning, I thought, well, I could do the audiobook, and we found the right person to do that. So we just had to go through those phases. At first, I can do the formatting, but that's easy. You just click this button, right? And then we, got someone to format it. And then, we relied on a few other things which were really, really helpful for any author that's starting out. Is we hired someone from Fiverr that had experience writing the description. Because for us, that was hard to be able to do because we're so close to it. It was,
Right.
Having somebody else be able to do that and write that description, which to us was a really, really big help. So it was just relying on people that are expert in what they do and have them, and seek that guidance. But the process itself, it's just lengthy. It's a lot of work. You finish writing the book and it's not like, oh, it's done, yay, yay. But there's all the other steps along the way now, right?
Yeah.
And it's learning that, oh, you have to do formatting, otherwise it's going to look like this, and this is the way to do it. So yeah, that was a learning curve, and it still is.
And then we had another learning curve because we misdirected the link for the book sale for book 1, which is out, and it went to book 2. So it told everyone who went to go buy it that it's no longer in stock.
Yeah, so that was a little.
It was a little hiccup.
So we've learned a number of things along the way.
Well, like you said, it's a learning process. So
Yeah.
And things change too. I mean, as far as the way they do things change. So by the time you do book 2 and book 3, you're probably going to run into different roadblocks.
Yeah.
Different things
Yeah,
along
it keeps
the way.
the industry is changing rapidly.
Technology is changing and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And like Paul Hollis had said the other day, when he first was writing and we were first writing, Amazon had 1 million books listed, and now they have 32 million. It's a whole different game than it used to be. Yeah. And even being with the publisher now is different than it used to be. It just isn't like it used to be years ago. Publisher really doesn't do anything. You have to do your own marketing. We have New York Times bestsellers on our show that are doing their own marketing.
Wow. Yeah.
Kind of
I
sad.
know.
It's a sad state of affairs.
They get $100,000 up front to write the book, and the publishers do some marketing, but they have to get out there and book all their own shows on podcasts and get themselves in the paper, and some of them have enough money to hire handlers who do all that, agents that do their TV appearances, and agents that do different aspects of it, but they're still doing it themselves, which is disheartening if you want to know the truth.
We could grow out of
Maybe
that, right?
we could, reach that point where somebody else would do all that stuff, but that is never going to happen. I think that's hard for new authors too, is to market themselves and to sell themselves.
Yeah, the marketing end is a black hole for sure.
Because I think we've all been taught to be modest, and you can't have false humility and say, you've got to say, this is a great book, and it's really difficult. I think that's the part the authors find the hardest when they first write.
Within our community, thank you. Within our community, that's what we're trying to accommodate for, so that there's actually sections that you're supposed to say, this is my proud me moment, this is my claim to fame, this, I want to celebrate this. And so people can actually see you gloating and happy and actually get inspired to focus in on your work because you're proud of it.
I think something important, over our, few decades in business, one of the biggest takeaways that people can use to build their brand or so is the whole notion that people follow people.
Yeah.
So if you can just be able to showcase who you are as a person, then they'll connect to your products, your books, your services.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of people, because it's exciting, and I know at the beginning, and you get on a podcast or an interview, and you just want to share everything about your book and what the character's journey is and everything else. But if you actually step back and let people know who you are as a person, then there's more opportunity for someone to say, want to read what they wrote because like they sound kind of cool or that's neat. So that's a really big part of it. And we built our community around that aspect to help people really just show who they are, walk the walk, talk the talk, and then people will come to you.
Yeah, it has to be the authentic you, for sure. Right. That's why we started this show, actually, was because we wanted people to meet the author and know the author. And once people know the author, they're going to want to read what they wrote. As you said, that was the whole premise for starting the show. Because actually, we've been asked to do a podcast about the paranormal. And we were like, well, we really don't want to do that. We'd rather do a show about authors. Will that work? And they said, well, sure. We said we really wanted to do this. And it's worked well because people are getting to know the authors. I mean, it's a basic sales technique. If you're a salesperson, you're actually not selling the product. You're selling your client on you. You're selling them on whether you're a reliable person, trust, whether you're an honest person, yes, and whether you're going to take care of their needs, and you have to build that trust in that relationship. And once you do that, then they're always going to come back to you to buy from you, as long as you've been authentic and been truthful and upfront with them, you know. But if you're not, then forget about it. But it's the same with books. People need to get to know you, and then they'll want to read your book.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, because they like you. They connect with you. They see that you're a person like them. That you have all the same dreams and wants and desires and, all of those things. It's a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's about time that we need to close up.
Yeah, we went over time a little, but that's okay.
That's okay. Thank you so much for letting us get to know you a little bit.
Yeah.
It's been really fun. Yeah. It hasn't even been ridiculous.
And thanks everybody in the audience. We appreciate you as always. Joe Conjal says, fastest hour of the week. Great show tonight. Thank you, Jeff and Mindy, and of course, Robin Jane. You're welcome. Thank you, Joe. Paul Hollis says, another great show. Thanks, Joan. Rob, Mindy, and Jeff. Thanks. C.W. Hawes said, good show, Rob and Joan. And thanks, Jeff and Mindy. Good advice.
Thank you, C.W.
C.W.'s read, I am sure. He's read the Hitchhiker.
Oh, yeah.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move you over to the side, and we're going to close out here. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Hang around, and we'll chat with you in a little bit here. I want to remind everybody to come back next week, same time here, 7 o'clock, for our visit with C.J. Peterson, author and publisher, Texas Sisters Press, and podcaster as well.
Is it still Texas Sisters Press when they've moved to Oklahoma?
Well, that vote isn't all in on that. And we'll find that out. That's something we'll find out next week.
Tune in, and you will find out.
Yeah, there you go.
John Adams. Hi, John.
Hi, John.
He says, well done. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Well,
any more comments before we go off the air? This is your last shot. Okay.
All righty. Well, until next time.
That's all, folks.
Night.
Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen Gees welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie. And you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our websites to our YouTube channel and Spotify.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DB.com.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.